Hello to the class of 2025. My name is Mrs. Mergel, and I am a school counselor at Helena High, and I'm going to lead you through some information today about high school registration. Normally, we do this presentation face-to-face with you at HMS, but today we are going to, just because of COVID, do a remote video. This video will be made available to your parents. It'll also be posted on our webpage, so you'll still have access to it in one way or another, or you can go back to it if need be. All right, so to start with, you should have three things in front of you. You should have your registration booklet, a yellow registration form, and the blue health history. And the purpose of this video is really to just go through and focus in on information pertaining to course selection. We want you to think about what are factors that help you to choose between a regular class and an honors class. How do you find that good balance, especially if you're involved in activities, whether they're school activities or things in the community like Grand Street? I'll just touch briefly on some things about summer and ways you can be connected to our school. And then, of course, in the fall, you will have an opportunity for a freshman orientation. And so that very first day of school for you will just be all freshmen. You will be assigned to Link Crew leaders, which are our upperclassmen who've gone through some training, and you'll have an opportunity to do some fun activities and then get a chance to walk through your schedule. And you'll be off to a new adventure, and those 4 years of high school go really fast, and so we want you to take advantage of all the opportunities that are going to come your way. Before I get going too far into the course information, I just want you to know that you will have a school counselor that's assigned according to your last name, and so you can see the breakdown there on the screen. Karina is really we like to refer to her as the boss of our counseling center, and she keeps us in line and does so many awesome things for us. And then just like you'll have a counselor assigned by last name, you'll also have an administrator assigned by last name. So again, those three things that you should have in front of you are for you to just be looking at right now. If you want to take some notes, you can do so on your registration booklet. I really don't want you filling out these forms just quite yet. We'd like you to do that with your family at home. When you turn in your documents, these are the only two things I'm going to need back. So the registration form and the health history form. But if you live outside the Helena High attendance boundary, then you're going to need some additional paperwork. If you're not sure whether or not you live outside the Helena High attendance boundary, you can always ask your advisory teacher or your middle school counselor, and they can help you out. So grab that registration booklet, and what I want you to see to start with is just open up to the first couple of pages, so pages 2 and 3. You can see the table of contents there, meant to help you out if you're looking for a specific class. That'll help you find that section easily. And then page 3 goes through the requirements of what it takes to graduate from high school. So it does take 23 credits, and obviously you have 4 years to get those 23 credits accomplished. And you can see department by department, so content area by content area, the number of credits that are required. So lucky for you, you're going to take 4 years of English. In the course of 4 years, you'll have 3 credits of social studies. So as a freshman, students take world cultures, as a junior, American history, and as a senior, American government. To graduate from high school, you need 2 years of science. To graduate from high school, you need 3 years of math. However, if you're college bound, what colleges would like to see is that you take additional years of math and science. And of course, it depends on where you go. But for the state of Montana is looking for you to have a 3rd year of science and a 4th year of math. The cool thing about, and not just math, but other areas too, is that by the time you're a junior and senior, there are some classes that you can take called dual credit classes, and that's where you're getting high school credit as well as college credit at a cheaper cost. So it saves you time and money in college. Your first year of high school, so freshman year, you'll take a full year of PE. As a sophomore, you'll take a half year of PE, and then, you'll take health the other half of the year. You need to have one fine art requirement, one career and technical ed class. So anything that starts with the number 6 is going to be a fine art, and anything that starts with the number 7 will be a career and tech ed class. And then you need 7 general elective credits. And so sometimes it's confusing about how you meet those requirements. And what you need to know is anytime you go above and beyond, once you meet a requirement and then you go above and beyond in that content area, then that's going to count as a general elective. So for example, with science, you take earth science as a freshman, biology as a sophomore. As a junior, if you take something like chemistry during your junior year, even though chemistry is a science class, you will have that class counting as a general elective because you would have already met your requirement for graduation. On page 78 in your registration booklet, you can see this 4-year planning guide. And what's nice about this is it essentially takes the graduation requirements and it spills it out over the course of 4 years so that you can see what you need to do as a freshman, a sophomore, a junior, and a senior. And it just helps to kind of forecast what classes you might want to take down the road, especially if there's some kind of prerequisite requirement. So for example, if you want to take photo 1 and 2, you can't take that class unless you have had art 1 as a prereq. So those are things that you just need to be aware of and considering as you're doing some course planning. All right, pages 4 through 10 in your registration booklet go through some information that I'm just going to briefly touch on. It's more of a conversation that feels relevant once you're actually in high school. For now, these are things that we want you to be aware of. So, for example, if you're planning to do or you want to play a sport in college, there are academic requirements that you have to make sure that you meet in high school so that you're eligible to play when you are in college. And the rules and regulations, all the stipulations are spelled out in those pages. But those are things that we help you with and talk to you about and remind you of once you're in high school. Furthermore, you'll have opportunities for dual credit as well as advanced placement classes. And both of these opportunities are ways that you can earn a cheaper form of college credit while you're still in high school. The difference is the way that you earn the credit. Dual credit, there's additional paperwork through Helena College that you have to fill out, and the cost is a little bit more than advanced placement, but dual credit allows you to earn a letter grade over the course of time. So over the course of maybe a semester or a full academic year. Advanced placement's a little different. You essentially take a really rigorous course with the goal of taking and hopefully passing a national exam at the end of a school year. And the score is from 0 to 5. 5 is the highest. You have to get at least a 3 in order to earn passing credit. So advanced placement is passing credit rather than dual credit, which is a letter grade. So again, probably seems really confusing, maybe not really relevant at this time. But again, just things that we want you to be thinking of and planning for. The key, though, is that you start off on the right track in high school. So really focus in on doing the very best that you can, earning your grades, earning your credits, and just keeping doors of opportunity open for yourself. Over the summer, you might be involved in things like summer reading if you're going to take the honors English class, as well as opportunities for extracurricular things. We do have summer workouts, there's summer camps, and so the way that we want you to just be involved and know what's available to you is by looking back to our webpage. You can see that the arrow at the top indicates the extracurricular tab, and once you're on that page, that bottom right arrow, it shows you the table, and those are your different options that you can click on, and you'll be able to access contact information for either the head coach or the advisor. And that's a way for you to then know when do summer workouts start, or when are the camps. Things probably aren't quite up to date at this time for the camps, but if you just keep an eye on it, once we get closer to summer, things will be ready to go for you. Okay, so now we're ready to talk about course selection. And so I want you to just grab that yellow registration sheet and have it in front of you. Of course, that demographic side is very important because that's all the information that goes into the computer. We rely really heavily on email as a way to stay in touch with your family. And so we need the correct contact information, not just for email, but also obviously for phone numbers in addition. Again, don't fill this out just quite yet. I'd like you to just be looking at it and listening. If you do have questions, maybe you can just be writing those questions down on your registration booklet. And those are things that you can work back with your classroom teacher or your middle school counselor on. And if they don't know the answer, they'll get in touch with us and then we can provide the answer for you. So what I want you to pay attention to in part 1 is the length of day. So freshmen have an opportunity for a 0 period start. You have 7 periods in your day, so you will either do a 0 through 6 day or a 1 through 7 day. There is an opportunity for 0 through 7, but we really don't recommend it, especially in light of the way that things have looked for us throughout the course of this year with the hybrid model. We're hoping next year that we're back to a more normal, traditional academic year, which is why with the bell schedule, rather than put the times for this year's bell start, I'm putting including the information that we normally rely on. So our bell schedule for a 0 period start, it normally is a 7:25 start to your day, and you would conclude at 2:20. If you're a first period start, then you would start at 8:20 and continue through 3:15. 0 period is something that a lot of students enjoy because they're early risers or they don't want to miss as many periods in the afternoon if they're involved in athletics and have to travel. And so just keep in mind that 0 period, it's a request. It's not a guarantee. We have limited seats. You may be able to get in or you may not, just depending on all the classes that you select. We've had limited courses available for freshmen in the past couple of years. So you can go ahead and mark it. If you weren't able to get into 0 period, you would automatically default to a first period start. Transportation is not provided during 0 period, so you're going to have to rely on either a sibling or a family member to get you to school in time for 0 period. If you absolutely have to ride the bus, then the 1st through 7th option is what you're going to check. Again, I mentioned that you can do 0 through 7, but we really don't recommend it for freshmen. It's just not necessary. You're going to have plenty of time to earn all of your 23 credits over the course of 4 years. A reason that a student might choose to do a 7 or an 8 period day rather is if they're trying to fit in an extra elective class, like band, for example, as well as fitting in art alongside of principles of biomedical science. Be very thoughtful if you're going to try to select the 8 period day, because we want you to have good balance and we don't want you to overwhelm yourself, because of course in high school you have to earn these credits and you earn the credits based on your grades. So you have to get at least a D in order to earn your credit. Okay, so moving past part 1, we get into part 2, which is the 5 required courses. So within the 5 areas, you still have some choice. I mentioned you have a 7 period day, so these are the 5 that have to be in your schedule. The other 2 are going to be electives. So to start with English, you get to select between regular English and honors English. I can tell you that with the honors English, there will be a summer reading requirement. That information you can find on the English department webpage. There may also be letters that are made available to you in the course of the summer to let you know which book you need to read. In addition, with honors, during the course of the school year, there may be more of an expectation of more essay writing as well as maybe more independent work. So, for example, you might be reading a book for a novel for the entire class. So it's a class book, but then you're also going to read an independent reading assignment as well. So maybe 2 books at one time, because then you're going to do a book report. For social studies, you will select between world cultures, which is the regular class, and then there's AP Human Geography, so AP Advanced Placement. So keep in mind, this is one of those classes that you could take and try to earn college credit in. Kind of the difference between the classes is the way that they're structured. World Cultures is going to really focus on regions and look at themes according to regions, like, for example, religion or the economy. But the way that AP Human Geography is designed is that it focuses on themes and not just regions. So it's going to be more of a comparative model. So it'll have a theme, for example, population, and it'll then compare different regions around the globe and look at population growth. It is going to be more rigorous, and there would be most likely more outside reading. For math, you're going to work back with your current 8th grade teacher, because that 8th grade teacher knows you and your skills well and will be able to help place you most appropriately for the start of high school. You do have that opportunity if you're currently taking Algebra 1 as an 8th grader. You do have that opportunity to have those credits transcribed onto your Helena High transcript. There will be paperwork coming at some point towards the end of 8th grade, and your parents have to sign off on that paperwork in order for us at the high school to add it to the Helena High transcript. If you're going to go into geometry as a freshman, we highly encourage that you make that choice based on your work ethic and your grades. So what we know is that the students who come in as freshmen and do geometry, they have earned A's or high B's in Algebra 1 as 8th graders. And of course, the work ethic is there, meaning that you're willing to put in all the time, maybe even extra time, getting extra help from the teacher, getting all the assignments done, taking advantage of quiz corrections and or maybe even test retakes. And that goes for the Math 1 and Math 2 honors as well. And just a quick overview, I'll advance this so that you can see the flow chart, but the math track, this is the only area, the only content area where if you want to stay in the math track all of your 4 years, you have to get in as a freshman. In the other areas like English or social studies, you can jump in and jump out of the honors tracks. So you could start with a regular English and then sophomore year choose to take honors English, for example. So back to math. Honors Math 1 and 2. It's 2 academic years, but it covers 3 years of curriculum. So in Math 1 honors, you're going to cover Algebra 1 as well as geometry. In Math 2 honors, you're going to cover geometry and then go into Algebra 2. So you can just guess, right, that this is going to be more rigorous. It's going to be a challenge. It's going to go at a quick pace. You're going to have to be willing to go get extra help from your teacher. So placement into that class really relies heavily on your current grades, where you're currently at with math, and of course, the signature of your math teacher. I do want to just point you in the direction of like 11th and 12th grade, and you can see that there are a variety of courses for you that will lend themselves well to dual credit. So things like pre-calculus, calculus, AP stats, college algebra and stats, tech math, math 105. Those are all of our options that will allow you to get dual credit. So high school credit plus the college credit. Going back to the registration sheet to round out the last 2 required classes. So science, you're going to either take the regular Earth and Space Science or the honors. And just like with English, the honors or science is going to have more of a requirement for independent study, be really self-directed, probably have some essay writing. So either way, you can't go wrong. The teachers of the earth science classes are really engaging and they make it fun. And then finally, with regard to PE, you're going to take PE for a full year, and we want to make sure it's something that's fun and engaging for you. So if you really enjoy the aspect of team sports and being competitive and winning games, then you're going to want to take the HP sports and fitness activities. If you would prefer to just focus on individual goals, then take personal wellness. In that class, in personal wellness, there are no team sports. And then the most competitive level of PE that we have to offer is weight training. And this is going to be where you're really focusing in on lifting as well as speed and agility, jumping, for example. So if you like to be involved in athletics that are tied to school, or even athletics outside of school, or dance, you're very competitive, weight training might be a really awesome class for you to take. Please note the directions. We want you to rank them 1 through 3. And the reason is so that we can get you your first choice. But if there was some kind of conflict, then we'd at least like to put you in your second choice for PE. And if you don't rank them 1 through 3, then it is up to us as school counselors to guess. And trust me, you don't want us having to guess for you. Okay, finally, at the bottom of the sheet here is the section that goes through elective opportunities. And this section can be a little bit confusing in terms of how you fill it out and complete it. But I can tell you that your teachers at HMS, your counselors at HMS, they're really familiar with how to fill this form out. And so if you get stuck and need help, please ask them. Again, really important that it's filled out properly, because when this form comes to us, we have to make sure to be able to put in first your main choices for electives and then your alternates, your backup choices. And we want to make sure that those alternate choices are things that you've selected, not things that the counselor has selected for you. So please make sure you follow the directions and fill 1 through 5 out completely. And that's 1 through 5 altogether, okay, between all 3 of these columns. Sometimes students will fill out 1 through 5 for the semester column and then 1 through 5 for the year columns. And that doesn't help us, and it certainly doesn't help you. So it's 1 through 5 between the year-long columns and semester columns in total. A semester indicates a half of a year class. And so if you pick one class from the semester column, it has to have a partner. So you can look at my example and see that by that red arrow, that's why speech and debate, even though they're 2 different classes, I've used 2 to indicate a full year elective opportunity for me. So you can see, just kind of bouncing back and forth between the different sections, my first 2 elective classes, the ones that I really want to see in my schedule, are French 1 and speech and debate. My backup choices are art, theater, and welding. So hopefully, if I wasn't able to get into French for some reason, then hopefully art or theater would be in my schedule so I could still be a happy little camper. If you have any questions, please make sure that you ask for help on how to fill out this section. And then also notice that certain classes may have prerequisite requirements. So for example, if you look at Spanish 2 right in that center column, the prerequisite is 5310, and that's the course number for Spanish 1. So we're not going to put you into Spanish 2 unless you've completed Spanish 1 successfully. It also requires that your 8th grade Spanish teacher sign off on the form. Jump down to money management. You would need to also have a signature here, and that would be a signature from your math teacher. This is a really challenging class for freshmen, and so we want to make sure that you're pretty self-directed and that you have some good solid math skills. to be successful in money management. And then, of course, freshman band. You wouldn't jump into freshman band unless you already have some skills because you've participated in an 8th grade band. And then over in the semester column, we've got a class where it's a computer application class, and 7304 is the prereq, and that is the Tech Skills for Life class. So there's an entry-level computer class, and then second semester you could take computer applications. All right, so just in closing, I want to remind you that the 2 forms that you are for sure turning into us, and we're going to collect them from HMS. So you're going to actually turn these forms into your advisory teacher. And if I'm wrong about that, then the adults in the room can correct me. But I will need that completed yellow registration form and the blue health history form. On your registration booklet, I would like you to use your pencil or pen and please just write down the due date according to your cohort. So if you're an A-Day cohort student, this is all due back to your teacher March 2nd. If you're a B-Day student, it's due Friday, March 5th. So just in one final thought here in closing is to really think about the importance of balance. We don't want you to sign up for all honors courses if you don't think that that's going to be doable, manageable for you. We want you to be challenged, but we also want you to make sure that you're in a schedule that's going to allow you to have success. Consider what kind of activities you're going to participate in. If you're going to be in football or basketball or volleyball, track, speech and debate, swimming, or even if you're in things like Grand Street or lacrosse, you're going to have practices that are requiring a lot of time from you outside of school. And so that means that's less time then for you to do your homework, and you will have homework. And so we want you to be squared away with a good balance of courses. And as long as I'm talking about that, it might not be a terrible idea to consider having a study hall. We always recommend that for a freshman, just as a way for you to really get your feet under you and have time built in your day to do that homework. Again, if you have questions, you can work back with your middle school teachers or counselors. You can also contact us at Helena High. Our contact information is on our webpage, as well as our page with all of our registration materials. Thanks for listening, and I hope you guys have an excellent afternoon.